and also why they're doing it. And I think the respect comes because of what you're doing, and I think that is very important. Finally, let's open this up because, you know, before I start with this topic, I was in Delhi and there's something that she said in a remark, acceptance speech. She said that, you know, when I was in Delhi recently and somebody came up to me in DU University and they said, "Yaar, we know so less about Northeast." So my first question these days is, why don't you log on to Wikipedia, right? Because you know which car Lindsay Lohan banked, which street Lindsay Lohan banked a car to. You know where Area 51 is, where the UFOs apparently landed. You know the latest billboard charts. You just don't want to know enough. But there are problems when we ourselves, you know, when we are speaking amongst people from Northeast, we say, "Oh, we respect our women a lot." Well, I think there are a lot of layers to this stereotype, and actually we frankly don't. In a lot of ways we don't. Just because we don't eavesdrop or catcall does not mean that we have given them the due respect in society. So that is very important, and I wish that when we speak about the ladies here, when you ask questions back and forth, we debate, I hope we touch that as well. That are we actually such an open society when the label of being broad-minded is just not us publicly doing something which is offensive in a certain part of India? Or is it that have we empowered women in decision making? We have people like her who's been in the field of media as a point of view. I wish you ask her counter questions. Why did she start with Mary Kom? Because everybody is in fascination with her. So let's be also brutally harsh and we can ask questions. Why Mary Kom and why maybe somebody from another part of the world? Is it because we only look at a gold medal for us to admire someone? And finally, I believe that there are states which also need to be incorporated. I know that there are a lot of people who have fought for the freedom struggle, who fought for right for education. So, which are the other personalities does Indrani Ji tend to incorporate in her future books, and who does she have in mind, and who does she leave out? I also believe that you will have a point of view and you should ask questions. Dhruva will definitely ask questions. Vasbir is looking into his mobile to ask some questions. And finally, I met this very famous Bollywood actor recently, and he asked me the same thing. You know, Amitabh Bachchan. And he met me and he said, "Hey, Mary Kom movie mein," you know, with his Amitabh Bachchan voice. "Hey, Mary Kom movie mein Northeast क्यों नहीं था?" So, like, you know, खुश बहुत हो गए too much. I'm very fond of mimicry. But then the point was that he just asked me that question. Why isn't our women today accepted in mainstream media, in mainstream society? Why aren't even our men accepted? Because our women, I believe, are far more hardworking and far more disciplined, especially in the hill areas. So when people, and yes, what constitutes to mainstream? So these are questions which I would like you to ask, have a debate. I want it to be interactive and I want you to be honest. And that's the way I would like this to take it forward. I'll leave this to the floor, please.
Yes, so who do I come to first?
Well, since I haven't read the book, but the point which you can just raise in very many conversations running for the wonderful. But what was the workplace outcome? I would like to pose a few questions. For example, women, this is not a homogeneous concept. It's a very heterogeneous concept. We have the class dimension, we have the caste dimension, we have the urban rural divide. But talking about Assam, just so we have talked about the, we have given very high rate of women in Assam. But that is not the case in Assam. I'd just like to draw your attention to the page of infant mortality rate in Assam, maternal mortality rate, and most surprisingly, ladies and gentlemen, in Assam, girls are missing today in Assam. Salary sex ratio, which is known as 1,000 male child against, girls against 1,000 male child. And those numbers are missing today in Assam. So when we talk about wonderful women, I congratulate you for incorporating those ladies who have done remarkable work. But what about this situation? Maternal mortality rate, Assam has one of the highest, in fact, highest mortality rate in India. Infant mortality rate is one of the highest. And I'm telling you, in terms of where the girls are missing, we say we take pride in congratulating ourselves, in saying that we give a lot of importance to the women. But women are missing today. Today, child sex ratio, which is the girl's child, they are missing from 10 districts of Assam. So I think these issues need to be highlighted. So when you talk about women, it's not just about, I have not read your book, so I cannot possibly comment on your book. But at the same time, those issues, it's a very highly stratified society. It's a class divided society. I think we need to be a voice to those who are unrepresented. So I have read your book. Many, many congratulations. I believe this issue also need to be taken into consideration.
Entry. Then I read certain memorable books. One is by Anis Jung. It's called Unveiling India. And Anis Jung uses a unique, very poetic and narrative voice to travel across the length of India, talk about ordinary women, farmers' wives and all that kind of thing. So that book influenced me a lot. After that, there's another lady called Elizabeth Boo Miller. She also wrote a book called, I think, Dharma's Daughter, something like that. Then it hit upon me that, why not try the field of non-fiction, and also I have been deeply interested in gender studies. My protagonists in my fiction have been very strong, unusual women, but somehow I felt that fiction was not enough to tell compelling stories. So now that you have told me about the decreasing gender ratio of females, I feel that the challenge would be from now on to tell compelling stories about the ground realities of this region with the creative writers' skills of narrative, of structure, of evoking atmosphere. So you have given me a new idea. Thank you.
I have a comment and a question. The comment is that in this book, and I look forward to reading it, mainly because I'm from Delhi, and in Delhi you only hear a very conflict-oriented perspective about the Northeast, as you were saying. So something that puts the ordinary into focus and celebrates the achievements. That's quite interesting. My question is that, and perhaps you touched upon this before I came in, but how did you select the people that you did for the profiles and for featuring them?
Yes,
I'm sure there must have been many other people. How did you decide which issue you focus on and which women you profile?
Number one, there should not be the same people, different people, but at the same time, in journalism, I took Mohammed Hankija and Teresa Rehman because they were working in different time frames and different areas. Then there was Mary Kom was for sports. I had also contacted Jen Selva, who had conquered Mount Everest, but it was extremely difficult to get her. Then there was a legal luminary that I had interviewed. I had filed the whole story, but unfortunately I realized that there was not much drama in her life. The main thing about me, when you say drama, it's not in that cheap way about that you see in the Salzburg serial. What I meant was the turbulence in life, the coming across of superhuman forces that are against you, and then to fall down and to rise up again. That I wanted truly inspirational literature, and I felt that these women embodied for me inspirational literature. But as the Maharaja has said, there has been no representation from his state, so I am looking forward to a very public promise that he will take me to the Ujjanta Palace and make me meet his subjects.
Not subject, please, you get into so much trouble.
You know why? The king is not the subject.
Yeah, the king is beyond subject. No, I think what you said, the question which you asked, I think it's a very honest effort, at least according to me. I've gone through the book of taking people from different aspects of life While we do believe that representation in terms of the 8 states are not there, I do believe that we've got a sports lady, we've got somebody who's in conservation, we've got somebody who's come from a very industrious family and yet gone and done her social work. We've got a lady who's actually written books, who's been an activist in the Assam agitation movement, and it describes a lot. You know, there's a good chapter which describes the entire tension and ethnic strife during the Assam agitation. So for someone like you from Delhi, there are various historical aspects which he's tried to cover on. I think it will make a very interesting read. From what I've read, I think even I have learned a few things which I didn't know about. So
I also come from academics and I've been listening to all the conversations here. What I want to say is, and I come from women's studies particularly, so we teach about, you know, women's perspective in different things. Am I audible? Yeah. Okay, so what I want to say is that a book like this, of course what you just mentioned about striking a balance between what should be like really academic and also something that is more, you know, in line with readability and accessibility, that's of course one factor. The other thing is that we learn about gender roles. So that again I think would be kind of very inspirational. So on one hand you have, of course, we also have to, as academicians, I'm sure it's our job to point out issues regarding you know, child mortality rate and, you know, maternal mortality and other things. But we also need such books which are inspirational, which document success stories and which form a part of, you know, history where women are writing about women. That also is another factor which I think makes this book very important and interesting. And I look forward to it.
Thank you so much. Support from unexpected quarters. I have not known her till today. No?
Yeah, I also have to leave early, so you know,
I think
could
you
just
made it really good.
Miguel has a...
Okay, we
has
can.
a-
Forward to reading it. While I actually agree with Sakira that this is definitely a path-breaking work, inspirational stories, at the same time, I also hope this is the beginning of an end. Because narrating 12 women stories has been possible because there are, you know, very few legendary figures. I hope a day will come when it will be impossible to document it because, like men, it goes into volumes and volumes and volumes. So, you know, and also your title, Half the Sky is also the name of Nicholas Bamford's, book, which does document a lot of work which has been done. So in that sense, you know, to have a similar named book in this part of the region is actually quite something. Very glad and looking forward to reading. Thank you.
I get a warning, don't talk. What I'm going to say might think that he is seen as an outsider, but after having spent more than 41 years and choosing to come to Northeast and not going to America was my choice.
Because this is better than America.
And not many would do it. Person from the Northeast. What we see being projected to the rest of the country as women being respected, women being everything in the Northeast, I think I slightly disagree with that. When I hear one of the anchors shout on the TV debates that women are told to wear this, women are told not to marry like that, I think if we see in the Northeast, it is worst here. It is worst here. Haven't we gone through the age when women were told that you will wear only this dress and nothing other than that? I know in the society in Northeast where women, if they marry outside that community, the women are castigated. Well, I'm married to a woman from Northeast. I know the region like back of my hand. I don't call myself an expert. Northeast was the only state, only region where an assembly resolution was passed opposing equal rights for women. Northeast is the only region where women are still not allowed they don't have the voting power in the traditional bodies. Say you go to Meghalaya, the Garbhas, still the women don't have a voting power.
A few cases of minority. A few cases of minority. So it's difficult to say. Answer your question. But what there's a thing, but I can generalize that is what I am writing or what I have written everywhere. I take a very positive and very strong standpoint to look at life. First thing. Second one is that, and always I think about better life. So ordinary to extraordinary. It is a journey. Everyone who wants to create a meaning of his or her life. So that is when one starts thinking about a journey. How about himself, ordinary to extraordinary. It is a journey. Everyone here, this 12 women, Indrani. So this is a journey, and my position is that I am committed to humanity. Very clear. I am committed to the world, and I am committed to myself. From there, I start my journey as a creative writer, and my pen is my platform. From where I was an activist, so now I am a full-time writer. So this is only a transformation, that is from an activist to a writer. It's not only creation, that is for the sake of creation, but it is a fight. It is raising an issue to speak on behalf of people who cannot speak. And it is not that I am speaking about myself in my novel, but if I think that I am an issue which has certain social importance, then I make my issue or a theme of my life. I take every issue, I deliver different issues of social life, from cruel children, from extremism, terrorism, and the position of women or empowerment. What is empowerment? I don't think that that's half of my style. That's how Mao says that women, you are my half of my style. That is a totally so that society to shake hands with the other half of the sky. That is my position. And I always, when I write anything, always I take the side of justice, I take the side of humanity, I take the side of servitude. And I want to make my life worth living and very meaningful, so that when I go away, when I leave this world, or I am transformed into different things like what I call consumer. So then when the last moment of my life, I want to take some good things in my hand, which are and which cannot be destroyed, and which I have picked up.
When you first began as your Northeast network, what were the difficulties that you generally faced, and did you finally think that now you have reached a certain kind of a pinnacle, a climax, which again is not a climax in the sense that I think Indrani said, you will still be having milestones ahead of you. But just two things. When you began, what made you begin? You could have done some other thing, because she comes from an extraordinary illustrious family. A family that has brought in, giving shape to Assamese culture, that very few families single-handedly have done. Now, Benbaro, is that a strength that has been given to you by your family background, by your genealogy? It is something instinctive with you? And what do you see for the future for men? I think after that prediction.
Actually, with Korupra, I've been very, very concerned with the issues that affect our society. And with Northeast Network, one of the main things I thought should take place is that we should showcase Northeast to the outside world. And that the reason is because many people, like I think he said, is that Northeast है क्या, ये चीज़ क्या है, लड़कियाँ क्यों ऐसा होता है, these kind of words would come out. That's one I want to showcase. The other thing was my great wish to bring up a set of development activists in both men and women, but of course with Northeast Network, I was very keen that young girls, young women grow to be intellectually geared to address some of the problems that most women face. And with these two, I struggled, and I think I'm still struggling because it's not that we haven't achieved. I think there is really a terrible problem going on in Northeast. And all of us say 1981 opera. When the AGP was coming up, the young boys were coming up, it was a time that for 1 year or 2 years, schools and colleges were not functioning.